taking a look at 129 with me just to make sure that, because it was on the list, but I know that like everybody's got an obstacle that they're working towards. 129 is the thing that I'm working towards, just afterwards. 95. How sweet and lovely dost thou make the shame, which like a canker in the fragrant rose doth spot the beauty of thy budding name. Oh, in what sweets dost thou thy sins enclose? That tongue that tells the story of thy days, making lascivious comment on thy sport, cannot dispraise, but in a kind of praise. Naming thy name blesses an ill report.
Hold on. How many are in the class? 14?
11 here.
11.
11. So, divided by 2 hours, that's roughly 12 minutes each.
Mhm.
So I don't want to waste time. But I was hearing a lot of downward inflections.
Yeah.
Which gave me the sense that you're finished. Oh, you're not finished.
Right.
Oh, you're not finished, right? It's confusing. So, here's one thing that you have to want you to understand, is that you've got great talent, you've got a great voice, you don't need tricks.
Thought I was abandoning my tricks.
Well, I don't know.
No.
What, Frank?
No.
Was it tricky?
It was tricky, and Dan, and I like that you're taking this leap with us because you were working with it yesterday. That now you're going, okay, I'm not going to put on big show. I'm not going to try and be super interesting.
Right.
Now, for the first time ever, Dan, your energy is getting so low because you're trying to not do so much. And now we're seeing the trick of you compress yourself down into no energy, and we read that the same way.
Simplify is really the best
Yeah,
way
simplify.
that
Yeah.
I can describe it. Simplify it instead of how sweet and lovely. Simplify it. How sweet and lovely.
Yeah.
Right? So that we can, I mean, there is such a thing as singing a song too slow.
Yeah.
There is such a thing as playing music too slow.
Yeah.
Speaking too slow. Instead of driving the thought, right?
Yeah. How sweet and lovely dost thou make the shame, which like a canker in the fragrant rose doth spot the beauty of thy budding name. Ah, in what sweets dost thou thy sins enclose? That tongue that tells the story of thy days, making lascivious comments on thy sport, cannot dispraise, but in a kind of praise. Naming thy name blesses an ill report. Oh, what a mansion have those vices got, which for their habitation chose out thee, where beauty's veil doth cover every blot, and all things turn to fair that eyes can see. Take heed, dear heart, of this large privilege. The hardest knife, ill used, doth lose his edge.
Okay. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. We're going to go back and
Yes,
listen
yeah,
to
yeah.
it. But, compared to what you were doing before,
Yeah.
right guys?
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
Angela, don't give me that skeptical look. Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, I still am losing what it's
Of
about.
course, we're going to go
Yeah.
back. We are. Wasn't that so much better?
Yeah, I think you put a little bit of person or this. I mean, maybe you were seeing it or something, but I felt more energy this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's working on your mind now, Dan. Now your mind isn't going, you're not warring against your mind. Your mind is almost infallibly the thing, not your heart, because your heart can lead you the wrong way. Your mind if it's connected to the universe, as the universe is scientifically composed, will tell you, don't do that, don't do that, right? And so, your mind was organizing you a little bit, and this was helping you in this second go-round.
Yeah.
But you're still not taking as many breaths and dramatic suspensions as you can to
Okay.
make it even more of an experience,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So let's go back.
Okay.
Risk, take risks.
Do you mind if I take notes and
No,
stuff?
no, fine, fine.
Yeah, it's incredibly technical thinking, and that's challenging to not take it too far in one direction. You know what Frank was talking about, that I'm taking notes from both what you were talking about and then also what Paul was talking about, where it's just allow yourself to be boring, but not actually boring, but just cut out the impulse to make it snappy. And so I'm playing in these oppositions, as are we all.
We have to get to the truth first before we can go
Mhm.
beyond.
Yeah.
Before, right?
Yeah.
We have to get to the truth.
Because you can direct yourself while you're doing it. That's the worst thing.
I think that's a good
That's a
point,
good
Vivian,
truth.
and that's kind of what was coming across, Dan, is that you were watching yourself.
Yeah?
And so you've got to get out of that.
Yeah.
And just quit watching yourself and just believe in yourself.
Mhm.
Right? And so, and I know that American actors are always told, oh, you've got to be quirky, especially in film. Oh, film and television, we're looking for is, personality,
No one's ever told me that I didn't have enough personality, Robert.
I know, but so that sends the wrong message to an actor, right? It's like, well, technique doesn't matter at all. I just have to be myself, and and they have a career for about 5 years, and then they're gone, right? We don't see them anymore because they're not really actors. But we want to be real actors.
Yeah.
We want a career.
Those are personalities.
I'm presuming that all of you want to be an actor, right? And have a career as an actor or a director. Well, a director has to know about acting too,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So, let's take it again, Dan.
How sweet and
You went back.
how sweet and lovely dost thou make the shame.
Why not take a breath after lovely?
I have no idea.
Let's do it, try it.
How sweet and lovely dost thou make the shame, which like a canker in the fragrant rose doth spot the beauty of thy budding name.
Good, I like what you did there. To spot the beauty, instead of continuing to speak without taking the breath, you actually took the breath.
Yeah. Click. It clicked a bit for just a second.
Yeah. Your mind is starting to organize you.
Yeah.
Take it again, sorry.
How sweet and lovely dost thou make the shame, which, like a canker in the fragrant rose, doth spot the beauty of thy budding name. Oh. In what sweets dost thou thy sins enclose?
Okay.
Yeah,
That is the end of that quatrain.
yeah,
It's not separate from the previous 3 lines.
right,
It's a summation. It's a culmination of the first 3 lines.
yeah,
It's like you're saying this and this and this and this, but let me just tell you, just go straight to hell, you
Right.
son of a bit, right?
yeah.
So take the go all the way through that 4th line.
Okay. Can I take the second couplet
No, take it from the top.
from the top? How sweet and lovely dost thou make the shame.
But
Would-
no, it was really close. Don't make shame downward inflection.
Okay.
The shame,
The shame,
yeah, because the thought is not finished.
right. How sweet and lovely dost thou make the shame which, like a canker in the fragrant rose, doth spot the beauty of thy budding name. Oh, in what sweets dost thou thy sins enclose.
Don't get too cute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's not classical acting.
No.
It belongs to something else. It's okay in some plays.
Mhm.
It's different authors, but not Shakespeare.
Mhm.
So, are you feeling and hearing the difference? How much easier it is to simplify?
It's not easy.
Well, it's coming off easier
Yeah.
because it's taking the onus of I have to be interesting. It's putting the onus on the material, on the text.
Yep.
This and it's honesty that's coming through. If there's a little dishonesty in the other way,
Yeah.
and that's what I want to strip from you, and so that you rely on your core, your soul, right, instead of tricky things.
Yeah.
Take it again from the top. Frank, did you want to say?
Oh yeah, there was a thing from the translation of Aristotle's Poetics that for actors to never be interesting, to only be interested in what you're doing, and that's what put us on. We were really enthralled with that because we weren't watching you work; we were
Right.
watching you figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good drop. That was good.
There we go.
Nerd.
How sweet and lovely dost thou make the shame which, like a canker in the fragrant rose, doth spot the beauty of thy budding name. Oh, in what sweets dost thou thy sins enclose! That tongue that tells the story of thy days, making lascivious
Take a breath
comments.
after days.
Pardon?
Take a breath after days.
Ah.
That was good.
That tongue that tells the story of thy days, making lascivious comments on thy sport, cannot dispraise but in a kind of praise. Naming thy name blesses an ill report. Oh, what a mansion of those vices got, which for their habitation shows out thee.
Take a breath after habitation.
Which for their habitation chose out thee.
Take a breath, take it again.
Which for their habitation chose out thee.
Good.
Where beauty's veil doth cover every blot, and all things turn to fair that eyes can see. Take heed, dear heart, of this large privilege, the hardest knife,
Don't get tricky.
the hardest knife,
Get off the H, right?
the hardest knife, ill-used, doth lose his edge.
Nice. Right?
Mhm.
Now, what the surprising thing is now your personality is more revealed. Because
Mhm.
instead of seeing faults, quirks and all, we're seeing the real Dan come through.
Yeah.
Your soul, your intelligence, your humor, your point of view, right?
Weird.
Yeah.
No,
We get it so much more now.
Acting.
That's the great paradox of acting.